Ah, seasons. Truly one of the least controversial aspects of Jailbreak and a feature that most people can get behind. Right? Right? It's no secret that for a while now, seasons have been a wide topic of contention, and it seems like in general people are not happy with the way they are. Just why are they so unsatisfying? And what is it about contracts that is so dull? My plan in this video is to take a more thorough look at the reasons for why so many people are unsatisfied with seasons and also offer up some solutions that could maybe improve the system just a little bit. Keep in mind, I'm obviously not a developer. Of course, I'm not going to know how everything works behind the scenes, and there might be some reasons for why things are the way that they are that I simply don't know about. I'm sure my suggestions have quite a few flaws, and they'd need a lot of tweaking to ensure the game balance remains solid. I'm just trying to offer up some feedback to the best of my knowledge. With that out of the way, let's jump right into it. So pretty much all the gripes people have with the way seasons are done nowadays is with the contract system. First off, one of the major complaints is that contracts are just way too repetitive. By the time you reached week 2 of doing seasons, you probably have already seen these contracts at least once. Now, Jailbreak is repetitive in nature and there are only so many contracts they could add. However, an even bigger problem that many people have that I also agree with is how they basically force you to go out of your way to do actions that often have little to do with gameplay. For example, dropping something into the volcano. It's fun to do once or twice for trolling purposes, but you're never really gonna go do this on your own, and a lot of people just find it annoying how contracts like these force you to do stuff you usually wouldn't do. A common word thrown around when it comes to contracts is chores or homework. Instead of being a fun activity that encourages the player to grind in Jailbreak, contracts are just extra work that you have to go out of your way to do. And it seems like a lot of people don't like contracts mainly because they're forced to do them. They're a task they need to come back to do every single day, like your chores or homework, and it just sucks the fun out of grinding. In fact, that brings me to my next point about contracts. Asimo has mentioned that one reason they're sticking with contracts is because it drives player engagement, and it's easy to see why. A lot of people like me keep coming back almost every day when seasons are around so we can get the new vehicle. However, this is precisely what a lot of people have issues with. This feature abuses the FOMO factor. If you don't know what that is, it's basically the fear of missing out. This applies to me big time. I want to own all of the Jailbreak vehicles, and if there's some that I have a chance of missing, I have a fear of missing out. This is the entire mindset behind seasons as a concept, and while it's not a bad mindset to have, in fact it's something devs usually think about and plan, it should be executed in a more interesting way. I think people wouldn't mind this FOMO factor if contracts were more fun, instead of an obvious attempt to keep people coming back to the game every day. A big complaint people have with the current system is how you need to play almost every single day to have a chance to get the grand prize. Now, for many people, this isn't an issue. For me, I'm in a lucky position where I always have time in my day to spend half an hour to an hour grinding contracts, but many people are not as fortunate. A lot of people are busy with either work or school, and they just simply can't come back to the game every single day to get these items. I think this is pretty unfair, and I do wish somehow there was a way this could be factored in. The old system is probably never coming back, and the devs have explained several times why. In fact, one big reason is why contracts are the way they are. They didn't like how people were able to get the prizes within a matter of hours. Now, personally, that's actually something I appreciated about old seasons. I liked that you could do them at your own time. I wasn't in the position to spend like 6 hours in one day grinding seasons, but I was able to divide it up over a few weekends and work my way up slowly but surely. I like that the old seasons were adaptable. Ultimately, I think the adaptability factor of old seasons compared to the rigid, forced structure of new seasons where you need to come back almost every day is a big reason why people are not satisfied. But I do think there are ways it could be improved and made a lot more fun for people. I think contracts do have their merits, but I don't think they should be the only way to earn XP, and I think the focus on earning XP should be dedicated to actual parts of gameplay. So one idea many players have had over the years is let robberies and arresting give XP again. If the devs want the main source of XP to still come from contracts, then maybe every robbery would only give a small amount, like 2 XP per robbery or something. Then there could be a daily cap, like 90 XP from robberies compared to like the 180 XP you would get from contracts. This way, you would still need to do some contracts. However, if you chose to, you could also get XP by playing the game normally. This way, the amount of time the player spent in game would also be increased. If the devs are interested in increasing their playtime, another idea myself and many others have had is reward XP from robbery bonus rolls. It could be as rare as like the rocket fuel or the 3k cash, and maybe you could only get it once per robbery per day. I would assume it would give like maybe 30 XP per robbery, but it would be rather rare and you would need to spend quite some time to do it. This way, people can stay in game for quite a bit of time, and instead of just doing contract, they can actually grind towards getting that XP. The reason for the daily cap is so that auto robbers wouldn't just be able to farm XP. I just think if the devs ever add XP back to robberies, putting it in robbery bonus rolls is the way to go, as it will keep people playing and it will make things more fun for people since they're getting XP by doing stuff they would normally do. Also, another thing I want to talk about, in Season 6, contracts were constructed in an interesting way. The devs wanted to kind of go back to the old system. Basically, they made it so the only criminal contracts were ones where you had to rob certain stores. The police contracts were only arrest one person, arrest two people, and then arrest three people. Not gonna lie, the idea behind this was an interesting one, and I think it does have its potential. Unfortunately though, Season 6 was way too easy since, like I said, on the cop team, you only needed to arrest 3 people and that was it. If they ever wanted to try this again, I would suggest upping the amount of criminals you'd need to arrest and then maybe keeping in the bounty contracts as well. And then as for the criminal team, add some contracts that are like rob X amount of robberies, like maybe rob 10 robberies or something. This way, players stay in game and it also gives them a little bit of leeway. They can kind of pick and choose what they want to do and how they can finish this contract. However, the one that I think might be the best solution is weekly contracts. There could be some other tab over here. Every week, there would be a couple weekly contracts that are very general. There would be only one for police and one for criminal, and it would basically just be like rob X amount of robberies or arrest X amount of people. It would be a large amount, like rob 100 stores, but since they'd have a whole week to do it and they're so general that it opens up a variety of gameplay possibilities, I think a lot of people would appreciate that. Now, they could set it up so you'd still need to do a couple of the daily contracts in order to finish the season, but weekly contracts would give people a way to complete seasons in a more fun way without having to play almost every single day. If they wanted to, the devs could make it a weekend only thing. This way, people could come back weekend after weekend and then they could spend a lot of time in one session doing these contracts. However, I would definitely prefer if they lasted over the whole week instead of just one weekend. If it were up to me, I would say the best way to go through things would be to keep the current contract system. This way, people who like just hopping on Jailbreak for half an hour every day wouldn't be messed with, but also add weekly contracts so people have a lot more incentive to play the game however they would like throughout the week and just generally have more fun doing it. Also, if weekly contracts were imposed, I'd still want to have XP rewarded from robbery bonus rolls. Maybe the amount could be decreased since weekly contracts would give quite a bit, but I still think adding XP to robbery rolls would be a good idea. Ultimately, whether it's these solutions or something else, I think the thing that needs to change is there should be multiple ways of earning XP, not just contracts. Contracts work well as a side companion, but they shouldn't be the whole focus of the season. Now, of course, the contract system is definitely the biggest problem myself and many others have with the current season system, and that is what took up a majority of this video. However, I do want to address some other things that I think could be fixed with seasons. First off, leaderboards / waiting period. I don't think leaderboards are done in a particularly good way right now. Because contracts are randomly generated with varying amounts of XP, yes, you can re-roll them, but it costs quite a bit of money and there's no guarantee you'll get anything better. The people who are higher on the leaderboard are only higher due to luck, not due to their skill set. Likewise, since contracts reset every 16 hours, people who do them every 16 hours, like the people on the leaderboard, have to keep pushing them back and back, further and further, later and later in the day. Basically, at some points, they need to get up in the middle of the night to do them. Now, part of me does want to get onto the leaderboard but I know it's just not worth it. There's absolutely no reason to stay up late at night doing contracts just for a position on a leaderboard that doesn't do anything. And finally, I think the people who get on the leaderboard should at least get some form of compensation. Now, here's how I would fix this. As many have suggested, increase the contract cooldown to 24 hours. However, reset all the contracts for everyone around the world at the exact same time. People around the world will have any time of day they want. Now, as for the methods of people earning XP themselves, this kind of ties into what I was talking about with contracts. With the solutions I suggested, there would be a lot of ways to get XP, and most people won't be able to get all of them. Simply put, grinding every single robbery and getting the XP from every single robbery bonus roll, as well as completing weekly contracts and doing the contracts we have right now, wouldn't be appealing to many people. However, there would be a dedicated few who spend a lot of time earning XP from every possible source. It would require actual skill and actual time put in from these people. Instead of rewarding people mostly based on RNG and luck, I think it would be better to reward people based on dedication and skill, as well as time poured in. Finally, I think people on leaderboards should get something. It could be some really rare item, kind of like the hyperchromes we have, and it would only be given to the people on the leaderboard. Maybe the size could be expanded to 50 to give some other people the prize. Maybe they'd add a different kind of leaderboard prize every season, or it would work like nukes, where it would stick around for a few months and people would have several chances to get it. I think some kind of really cool exclusive item could help recognize the efforts of these dedicated individuals and make their time worth it. I also want to talk about bonus prizes.
Nobody cares!
I know, right? Still, I think the way bonus percentage prizes work right now is rather flawed. Getting into the top 2% of the season is incredibly easy, and here's why. I'm pretty sure the way the system works right now is that it factors in pretty much every single person who plays Jailbreak, even the people who are not doing seasons. Since the vast majority of Jailbreak players don't participate in seasons, that means you're already ahead of the majority of players when you reach level 2. In fact, through level 2, I was in the top 8%. To me, this is rather ridiculous, and I think the top percentage should recognize the top percentage of people who did the season, not the top percentage of people who play Jailbreak, period. To fix this, I'd simply count people who play from level 2 onwards. You'd filter out pretty much all of the people who don't play, and it would make the top percentage prize competition more competitive. And real quick, here are a couple miscellaneous things I think would make seasons a bit better. Number 1, stop rewarding apartment decorations. Pretty much nobody cares about these. Apartments right now are very neglected and very few players use them. In my opinion, rewarding apartment decorations takes up space that often could be used for better stuff. Also, I would like to see some more unique season prizes. I think adding limited dog variants would be really nice. Maybe after the season finishes, you could access them from this third slot over here. This is a feature I'd like to see added to jetpacks in general, but why not reward some jetpack skins from seasons as well? Also, I think adding guns exclusive to seasons, yes, whole guns, not just gun skins, would be really cool. The way the Jailbreak gun UI works right now, I think allows for a way to access exclusive guns. Maybe there could be some seasons where the grand prize itself is a gun. That would be interesting. But yeah, those were just a couple of things that I think would spice up seasons a little bit more. When it comes down to it, I am happy that seasons exist. I probably would have stopped playing several years ago if seasons weren't a thing. They keep me coming back to the game again and again. However, they're just not fun. They're a chore, they're a job. They've become tedious and repetitive, and my sentiments are shared with many people. I've tried offering up some ways they can be improved. Hopefully we start seeing some change to them soon. I would absolutely love to see what you guys think are the biggest issues with seasons and what your suggested solutions are. Just make sure to do so in a respectful manner. I hope we can have some interesting and productive conversations around this topic. If you like this video, subscribe, blah blah blah. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope we start seeing some change really soon.